Chapter 369, Battling Again. All present were thrilled. Though none had witnessed it themselves, they had heard the tales from Ling Han of his days spent in relentless pursuit by Duan Zhengji. Anger brewed in their hearts, and now, with the boiling blood pill successfully concocted, they were ready to raise the banner of retaliation. Ling Han stepped out from the city, heading southward. Yet, no sooner had he covered 100 miles than Duan Zhengji appeared before him once more, like a relentless parasite. "Brat, let's see where you will flee this time." Duan Zhengji sneered. Ling Han, having opted to test his speed and escape into the city earlier, had, in Duan Zhengji's eyes, shown his hand. He had no more instant movement talismans, or at best, one or two that he dared not waste. The time for trickery had passed. "Impressive," Duan Zhengji continued, his voice laced with mockery. "You have no means left to save yourself, yet you still dare to venture out alone." His words were an attempt to probe for answers, seeking confirmation of what Ling Han's true intentions were. Had he used his last talisman, or was there something more to his plans? Ling Han smiled calmly, raising his hand ever so slightly. "Who said I left alone?" he said, his voice as steady as the calm before the storm. Duan Zhengji's eyes widened in alarm. Could it be that Ling Han had hired a powerful martial artist to stand by him? He was not the fool to believe someone would leave the city, fully aware of being hunted by a spiritual pedestal expert, without such an ally. However, as Duan Zhengji expanded his divine sense, no hidden ambush presented itself. For some time now, he had followed Ling Han at a distance, certain that he had not been pursued. Ling Han, alone, ventured further out, and no elite martial artist had tailed him. It was time to confront him directly. Then, with a flick of his wrist, Ling Han summoned forth Hu Niu, whose tiny arms stretched out to cling to him as though she had always been there. Duan Zhengji's jaw dropped, his eyes wide with disbelief. "What sorcery is this?" he thought, staring at the little girl. She had appeared out of thin air. Was this the work of an instant movement talisman? No, such a talisman could not deliver one to such an exact position. A sense of unease gripped Duan Zhengji. When confronted with the inexplicable, helplessness set in. "Niu, teach him a lesson," Ling Han said with a smile, his voice unwavering. "N," came the response from Hu Niu, whose tiny form shot forward like lightning. In the blink of an eye, she was behind Duan Zhengji, her fist raised, aiming for the back of his head. Duan Zhengji, caught off guard, could not react in time. He attempted to shield himself with his origin power, creating a defensive barrier around his head. But how could his defense withstand the power of the spiritual ocean tier Hu Niu? The impact was devastating, and her fist struck the small of his back with a resounding thud, nearly knocking him off his feet. Hu Niu followed up with relentless strikes, her tiny fists pummeling Duan Zhengji with blinding speed. His defenses floundered under the barrage of blows, but soon he was forced to channel all his power to fortify his defenses. It was as if he had transformed into a living porcupine, his body bristling with defensive energy, leaving no vulnerable spots. At last, Hu Niu, realizing the futility of continuing her onslaught, leaped back, returning to Ling Han's side. She clung to him, her demeanor now resembling that of a playful child. Who would ever guess that her attacks had been so ferocious moments before? Duan Zhengji's expression twisted with horror. His energy reserves were rapidly depleting as he kept up the defensive barrier. At most, he had an hour before his power ran dry, and at that time, Hu Niu would strike once again, this time with devastating results. His only hope was to activate his hidden weapon. With a vicious growl, Duan Zhengji unsheathed his demonic noise saber, a level 5 spirit tool. It could release destructive sound waves capable of disrupting the mind. The power it commanded was perfect for exploiting Hu Niu's weaker mental defenses. "Humph, you are certainly unusual," Duan Zhengji sneered, "but in the face of absolute power, your fate is sealed." Ling Han laughed heartily, mocking Duan Zhengji. "How pathetic you looked just now." "Ugly man," Hu Niu retorted arrogantly, her eyes full of disdain. "How dare you?" Duan Zhengji roared, raising the demonic noise saber. The saber sliced through the air, sending waves of demonic sound crashing toward Hu Niu and Ling Han. Ling Han grinned, raising his hand once more. "Big Brother Guang, it's time." With a flash, Guang Yuan appeared. He clenched his fist, and 4 powerful streaks of fist chi swirled into being, each transforming into a mighty silver dragon that charged toward the incoming sound waves. The dragons collided with the sound waves, shattering them with explosive force. Yet, despite the dragon's massive size, the sound waves barely faltered, and they continued their destructive path, injuring Guangyuan before finally dissipating. Duan Zhengji stared in disbelief. You've broken through to the spiritual pedestal tier? His mind raced. How could he have appeared here so suddenly? Was it possible that both of them had used instant movement talismans? No, such a thing could not be true. Then, his face twisted with realization. A spatial spirit tool that stores living beings. You wretched brat, you possess such a treasure. His eyes gleamed with avarice. Such a treasure would allow him to summon an army at will, a weapon far beyond any he had ever imagined. Ha ha! The gods are on my side! He laughed maniacally. With such a treasure, who could stop me? The Thousand Corpse sect will be unstoppable. Ling Han shook his head. Dream on. With a firm command, Ling Han gestured to Guangyuan. Big Brother Guang, finish him. Understood. Guangyuan drew the boiling blood pill and swallowed it. Even if you've broken through to the spiritual pedestal tier, you're still only at the first layer. Duan Zhengji scoffed. I stand at the 3rd layer, and with the demonic noise saber in my hand, slaying you is no different than crushing an ant. With those words, he charged forward, saber raised, intending to end the battle in one swift stroke. But Guangyuan, now enhanced by the boiling blood pill, roared in fury, a mighty aura swirling around him. The hurricane of martial intent surged forth. With a mighty punch, Guangyuan released a devastating fist chi, and 5 massive dragon images, their silver bodies shining brightly, appeared, charging toward the demonic noise waves. Chapter 370, Killing Duan Zhengji. Dark Angel, Editor Kurisu. The air trembled with the heavy sound of blows as the dragon images descended, crushing the demonic noise. The once menacing waves of sound evaporated in the wake of their might. Just moments ago, those same waves had shattered the dragon images and even left Guangyuan grievously wounded. But now the tables had turned. The dragon images, now empowered, surged forward with unstoppable force toward Duan Zhengji. Duan Zhengji's face turned ashen, his shock palpable. How was this possible? How had Guangyuan's strength surged so drastically? In a single moment, no less. This was the 7th or 8th layer of the spiritual pedestal tier. How could it be so overwhelming? For cultivators of high realms, the difference between layers was unmistakable and profound. Duan Zhengji, himself at the 3rd layer of the spiritual pedestal tier, was like a mere child before the oncoming storm. Even with his level 5 spirit tool, he could not hope to stand against the might of a 7th layer cultivator. To hell with it! Guangyuan bellowed, charging forward with unrelenting fury. Time was his enemy. Soon, the effects of his alchemical pill would wear off, and he'd return to his original cultivation level, perhaps even falling to the 1st layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Duan Zhengji barely parried the incoming blow, but the force behind Guangyuan's attacks was too much. Blood spilled from Duan Zhengji's mouth, each strike from Guangyuan pushing him closer to his breaking point. In the face of such overwhelming power, Duan Zhengji's retaliation seemed pathetic, futile. Then, with a shrill cry, Duan Zhengji summoned his last resort. From the depths of the forest, a coffin, as if moved by unseen forces, slid into view. With a loud crash, the coffin's lid flew open, and out sprang a corpse soldier. The figure was Nong Qingyu. "Qingye!" Guangyuan gasped, the sight of his old lover's corpse seizing his heart in an iron grip. A wicked laugh escaped Duan Zhengji's lips. "Seeing your beloved again, are you happy? But what will you do now? Can you bring yourself to kill her?" The corpse soldier, devoid of any emotion, immediately attacked Guangyuan with ruthless precision. Its skeletal claws struck with terrifying speed, its every move accompanied by the black, roiling corpse chi that surged from its body. This ominous force was capable of entering any open wound, and if not expelled immediately, it would transform the victim into another corpse soldier. Guangyuan recoiled in horror, unable to bring himself to strike down the form of his old lover. Instead, he dodged frantically, his movements swift and erratic. But each miss gave Duan Zhengji more room to maneuver. The demonic noise raged once more, a wave of force that tore through Guangyuan's defenses, blood spurting from his wounds. Ling Han, watching silently from the sidelines, did not intervene. He had already created an opportunity for Guangyuan to take his revenge. If Guangyuan was too weak to seize it, then Ling Han would no longer offer any assistance. "You think I don't know how you gained your power?" Duan Zhengji sneered. "That alchemical pill of yours has given you the strength to stand against me. But how long do you think its effects will last?" Guangyuan did not respond. His gaze remained fixed on the corpse soldier, whose features were strangely untouched by death. She appeared almost asleep, as though trapped in a nightmare she could never escape. The corpse chi seeped into Guangyuan's wounds, twisting and squirming like serpents seeking entry into his body. He grimaced, but his resolve was hardening. "You're the one who desecrated her remains," Guangyuan said through clenched teeth. "I am only giving her peace." With a swift motion, he gathered his energy and unleashed a devastating punch that tore through the corpse soldier's face. The force of his strike shattered her body into pieces, leaving only fragments of her remains behind. Duan Zhengji was stunned, his face a mask of disbelief. "You, how could you?" The power of Guangyuan's blow was beyond anything Duan Zhengji had imagined. It was the kind of force that could only come from a cultivator on the brink of the flower blossom tier. The corpse soldier, once controlled by Duan Zhengji's divine sense, had been obliterated, taking with it the sliver of Duan Zhengji's soul that had been linked to her. A violent backlash surged through Duan Zhengji, and he screamed in agony, spitting out blood. His body trembled, unable to withstand the shock of losing his connection to the corpse soldier. "Guangyuan, you shattered Qingyue's remains!" Duan Zhengji howled. "You heartless beast!" But Guangyuan had no time for his words. His gaze remained cold, unflinching. He had already made up his mind. This was not about mercy or sentiment. His fists rained down, relentless and unforgiving, each one more powerful than the last. Duan Zhengji, unable to withstand the torrent of strikes, turned and fled, his body battered and broken. He sought to escape with his life, planning to report Ling Han's possession of a spirit tool that could store living creatures. It wouldn't be as great a credit as acquiring the tool himself, but it would still be of value. "Think you can escape?" Guangyuan's voice was a mocking whisper as he closed the gap between them, his movements swift as an arrow. With one final strike, he landed a punch squarely in Duan Zhengji's back. Duan Zhengji let out another howl, his body jerking violently under the force of the blow. His organs seemed to twist inside him, and the pain was unbearable. His body, infused with corpse chi, resisted the damage somewhat, but the impact was too great, and blood poured from his mouth. Guangyuan pressed the attack, landing punch after punch. Peng, 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 peng. The sound of each strike echoed like a drumbeat, each one driving Duan Zhengji closer to death. The final blow shattered him entirely. Duan Zhengji collapsed, his life extinguished in an instant. Ling Han approached Guangyuan, offering him a flask of wine. "Drink," he said quietly. "You've earned it." Guangyuan did not hesitate. He drank deeply, the liquor numbing his mind and dulling the pain of his victory. With Ling Han's help, he was guided into the Black Tower, where he would rest for the night. The next day, they would continue their journey, leaving behind the fallen Duan Zhengji and the carnage that had unfolded in the forest. Not long after, as Ling Han's carriage departed, a figure appeared beside Duan Zhengji's lifeless body. An old man, with skin taut against his bones, his eyes sharp and penetrating. The aura of power around him was unmistakable. "Dead?" The old man muttered to himself, his voice low. "This one was beaten to death. The force behind those blows was extraordinary. A cultivator in the 9th layer of the spiritual pedestal tier, or perhaps even one on the verge of the flower blossom tier." His eyes glinted with something dark, a hunger for power. A spatial spirit tool that can store living creatures. This is a treasure worth fighting for. The old man, Elder Ju Yun of the Thousand Corpse sect, hovered above Duan Zhengji's corpse. His eyes gleamed with greed. The secrets that Duan Zhengji had uncovered were now his to claim. With a malicious laugh, he rose into the air, eager to find Ling Han and take the spirit tool for himself.